protecting you.
Welcome, legends. This is News and Rings, bringing you nonstop WWE news, match results, and inside scoops. Hit subscribe and let's dive straight in. The shocking attack on Paul Heyman has left the wrestling world in disbelief and mourning. What unfolded on SmackDown wasn't just another storyline twist. It was a moment that crossed every emotional boundary for fans, wrestlers, and colleagues alike. Seeing one of wrestling's most respected figures brutally assaulted and now reportedly facing paralysis has forced WWE and its audience to confront deeper questions about morality, safety, and the cost of entertainment in the industry. A night that changed everything. The night began like any other episode of SmackDown. Crowds roaring, lights flashing, and anticipation building as Paul Heyman walked to the ring, microphone in hand. The Wiseman of the Bloodline, dressed sharply in his signature suit, was in his element, calm, confident, and commanding as he delivered one of his classic promos. His words were sharp, layered with intelligence and charisma, as he spoke about Roman Reigns' legacy and dominance. The audience was captivated, unaware that this would soon become one of the darkest nights in WWE history. The assault nobody saw coming. Paul Heyman stood his ground, microphone still in hand, his eyes darting between the two men closing in on him. He tried to reason, to diffuse the tension the only way he knew how, with words. "Gentlemen, there's no need for violence," he pleaded, stepping backward as the crowd's concern grew louder. But it was too late. Bron grabbed Heyman by the collar, yanking him back into the center of the ring. The look of terror on Paul's face said everything. He knew he was trapped. What followed was horrifying. A single, devastating right hand from Breakker dropped Heyman instantly. He wasn't a trained wrestler. He wasn't built to withstand that kind of impact. Ethical emergency and the race against time. Paul Heyman was immediately stabilized by ringside doctors who treated the situation with visible panic. They secured his neck, fitted him with a brace, and carefully transferred him onto a backboard. The crowd watched in eerie silence as Heyman's motionless body was lifted onto a stretcher. Cameras captured the shocked and tearful faces of fans, some holding signs for the Bloodline, others praying aloud. When Heyman was wheeled up the ramp, there was no music, no commentary, just silence and the faint sound of medical personnel calling for more support backstage. Roman Reigns' immediate reaction. For Roman Reigns, this wasn't just another attack. It was deeply personal. Paul Heyman has been more than a manager to him. He's been a mentor, an ally, and a guiding force in his legendary run as tribal chief. When Roman arrived at the hospital hours later, eyewitnesses described him as visibly shaken and furious. For a man who's built his on-screen persona around control and dominance, this was one of the rare moments where he appeared broken. Inside Heyman's hospital room, cameras reportedly caught Roman sitting silently beside Paul's bed, his head down, fists clenched. His expression wasn't that of a performer. It was of a man seeing someone he loves in pain. Roman's whispered words, "I'll make them pay for this," captured the gravity of the moment. WWE could turn this into one of the most emotionally charged storylines in years, but it also serves as a sobering reminder of the dangers lurking in a business built around controlled violence, responsibility, and safety in professional wrestling. Paul Heyman's possible paralysis has reignited an ongoing debate about wrestler safety and company accountability. WWE's responsibility doesn't end when the lights come on. It extends to ensuring every performer, especially non-wrestling personnel, is protected from harm. If this was a scripted segment, then the planning, rehearsal, and execution failed catastrophically. If it was unscripted or went off course, that's even more alarming. The WWE universe is filled with passionate fans who understand the risks athletes take, but when a 58-year-old manager ends up seriously injured, it's clear that something went wrong behind the scenes. There must be accountability, whether it's from production staff, creative teams, or the wrestlers themselves, for ensuring such an incident never happens again. Wrestling thrives on drama, but not at the expense of human safety. Roman Reigns and the Bloodline's next move. The Bloodline has faced internal strife, betrayal, and emotional chaos before, but this is different. This attack cuts to the core of everything the faction stands for: family, loyalty, and power. Roman Reigns' next move will define not only his character, but the entire trajectory of this storyline. Fans expect vengeance, and rightly so. The tribal chief must now balance rage with responsibility as he seeks justice for the man who's stood by his side through every war, whether that means confronting WWE management, demanding retribution, or taking on Breakker and Reed in brutal matches. Roman's path forward will be pivotal. This is the kind of narrative that could redefine his legacy if handled with the right emotional depth and realism. The human side of Paul Heyman's legacy. Beyond the character, beyond the promos and championship storylines, Paul Heyman is a human being who has given his life to professional wrestling. From his days running ECW to managing champions across generations, he's shaped the business in ways few ever have. His intelligence, passion, and creativity have left an indelible mark on WWE and the industry as a whole. Seeing him stretchered out, motionless, struck an emotional chord with fans because Paul isn't just another on-screen figure. He's a legend, a storyteller, and a pioneer. Whether he ever returns to television again doesn't matter as much as knowing he's alive, safe, and supported. His recovery, whatever form it takes, will be a testament to his enduring resilience. Final thoughts. A community united in concern. At its heart, professional wrestling is about connection, between performers and fans, between stories and emotions. The attack on Paul Heyman has left the WWE community grieving and anxious, but also united in compassion. Fans everywhere are sending love, prayers, and support to one of the greatest minds in wrestling history. This moment, painful as it is, reminds us that behind every storyline, every promo, and every ring entrance, there are real people with real lives. Paul Heyman has given everything to this business. Now it's time for the business and its fans to give that same loyalty back to him.